It tagged you in it.
Woohoo!
I seen you post it too, so.
Yep.
And
Awesome.
we are live,
And we
episode
are live.
51.
51.
Woohoo! I already got 6 people jumped on, 1 likes.
Super exciting.
So
Super exciting.
we're getting there where we'll plan it out better and get things organized. I think
We've been on here chatting for what, 2 hours?
like a little bit after 5 because you were busy with some projects and we started bullshitting. But that's important. There's a lot of that. Just surround yourself with a bunch of smart people. Bullshit with them a lot. It's how things actually get done. You know, you toss some ideas around.
How they got done.
How they got done. How that gets done. There you go.
All right, awesome.
It's I'm going to upgrade the camera in my office. Everyone's like, "Hey Tom, you got like," as I just crossed 20 million views or something. They're like, "You still got a cheap C920." I'm like, "Yeah, it's about the content, not the camera, right?"
The cameras are worth a bankroll. All right.
Yeah, they're expensive.
C920.
I might upgrade my camera in here. I do get tired of. Yep.
Or like you could just clip it on the stuff.
There you go.
So if I've been working on my content creation tooling. I got some stuffs. I got some things.
I like that.
Some stuff. I want to do some like hands-on chip off type stuff.
Yep.
Hands-on demos, and you'll see.
New stuff.
Yeah.
You get one of those. What's that guy that does all the electronics repair though? He's got the whole microscope cam and he live streams when he's doing it. That's actually slick.
When he's like reballing processors and
Yep.
Not
Rossman.
Yet. Not yet. I do have a friend with a hot air station who probably wants to put it to use. So if you have something you want to de-chip, let us know. May or may not be able to run some forensics on the round.
Steve fixed his graphics card in an oven.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
You can set the temperature.
Yeah, I mean that's how we used to fix Xboxes.
Yep.
Xbox 360s.
Yep.
Get the red ring, no problem. Wrap it up in a towel. Put it off in the corner in the summer. It'll just fix itself.
It'll cook itself back on there.
Yeah, that was an interesting time in computing actually, because almost everybody became like a reballing expert somehow, some way. Like, oh yeah, you just gotta reflow it.
I still have because I had in 2005 is when I bought an electronics store that we serviced TVs and stuff. So I still have I think one of my airflow stations in the other room. We haven't turned it on in a long time. I'll ask Steve if we even use it. Maybe I'll give it to you. I don't think it's one we use anymore.
I will definitely use it.
Yeah, we just don't do electronics repair anymore. The only thing we do is some soldering. So we'll talk about that part offline. But right, cool. I forgot to mention it to you. I should have asked Steve when he was here, because he came in and said bye before he left. So I'll figure out what we're doing with it. Get a red cam, do podcasting in 8K.
Did it storm out your way today, Tom?
Yeah,
dude, pretty hectic.
It got hectic. It stormed. I unplugged my Tesla. I don't know if it. So one of our clients in Ann Arbor got hit by lightning bad and blew up a couple pieces of equipment they had. We got them back up and running. We talked them through it over the phone. It blew up a couple ports on a switch. We guess somehow it electrified their building, and it blew up a switch. We talked them through plugging it in so they can get up and running.
A switch? They got struck by lightning and their switch got struck by lightning.
Yep.
This customer is extremely lucky.
They're lucky that's all that broke.
They are like surviving a ransomware attack lucky.
Yeah. Well, they have multiple buildings. It's an industrial complex and like metal buildings and stuff. And I guess it hit on one side and destroyed one piece of equipment. My staff solved it before I got here. But as I seen the messages coming in, they were sending pictures. I didn't even look at the pictures because I get CC'd and all the support stuff because I want to see it. And I was like, oh, wow. So, but someone even said in the comments over here, can lightning blow up a Tesla? And that was my concern. So when it started lightning out, I unplugged my car as I was charging it. And I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna not charge my car while it's storming.
That'd be one big boom.
Yeah, because
big boom.
I know if the lightning comes through the building, runs through to the car, will it be a small boom? Will it be a big boom? Will it overcharge the battery? What will happen? I don't know.
It just charge you to 100% immediately.
Yeah, it just hits 100% right away.
Done. Finished.
Nothing good can come of it, I decided, and I don't want to experiment with it. So.
I don't blame you. High voltage experiments on Teslas. Leave that for the car hacking village.
I'll leave that for the car hacking village, and it's not my car. Oh man, I don't know if we introduce ourselves. Tom Lawrence and
Xavier D. Johnson.
yes, so and this is how they got hacked. After first starts with how we start bullshitting. Should we jump into the story?
Fuck it, why not?
I think the first one is because it was the first topic we covered last time was the ACLU and them suing over the essentially ineffectiveness and wrongdoings of the Project Greenlight is actually what it's titled here in Detroit, but it's the facial recognition system that wrongfully accused someone. And that was this. And now we have Detroit cops employed a facial recognition system that only misidentifies 96% of the time. So the testimony's coming out, and it's worse.
Tom,
it's worse than you thought.
We got to update our links on the show notes.
Oh, yeah. They're the old ones.
You already know people are going to be like, yo, show notes. That's what I just used. That's what brought that up.
Yep, that's the old show notes. I can edit them in real time here. There we go. Save. They're updated.
Awesome.
Here's my question in general. If you have anything that only works 4% of the time, do you even bother using it? If any of the tools in your tool set, if your car only runs, that would work out to be like 3 days of the year? It only runs 3 days a year. We don't know which 3 days, but go ahead and use it. That's our patrol car.
Sheesh. Yeah. He claims that, if they only use the software to identify subjects, that they would only solve the case 95 to 97% of the time. Or that they would not, solve the case 95 to 97% of the time.
I know I had to read it twice because they worded it funny, and I like the way the register got it, but it's just insane. Like, it's just not... If it's not effective, why do you guys have it? You're trying to drop tools, and this is where it kind of becomes a little bit of a money grab. These companies want to make tools. They want to prove that their dollars that our tax dollars are paying for are doing something effective. So they try to shove it. Hey, use this, guys. Use this. Go do some police work and show how much easier your police work is. And then you give a bunch of untrained officers these tools, and it doesn't work out. It doesn't. No one wins in this. Well, the government contract was won, and it's downhill after that. The taxpayer lose. This poor dude that got screwed over, by getting arrested loses. The cops, nothing good comes of this. Everyone just is pissed off at the cops again. So it's like it didn't put them in a good light. So
yeah, we're Detroiters, so it sucks whenever our police chief, who is not a technologist, who did not pick this out, did not decide to go with the DataWorks Plus company. He's still going to be held accountable for it because it's his force, and that's what good leadership does. They take the heat for things. It's unfortunate that this is happening because I'm a black man and I live in Detroit, and I don't think that I could be misclassified, but who knows?
Well, it's only 4% right, so
right. So it's look, me and Tom will definitely.
It might mix us up.
Yeah, one dude had a gray ponytail, the other dude had a black afro. It seems about right.
Seems about right. And anyone who's actually worked with some of these machine learning tools knows they're not ready for prime time in general. I always like that one where it identifies, the meme we showed last time. It's a guy holding a cat and it says dog. It's like, no. It's just, it's not there yet.
Again. No, not yet. And, it's getting there. It'll take some time. I think that we can't give up on it. We can't just say, well, screw it all together. I think that this is, just earlier today, somebody posted, maybe it was FireEye. They posted, what is wrong with the InfoSec community in 5 words, right, or less? And I said something along the lines of, people like simplicity over security, right? Like it's kind of where we're at right now.
And I think there's a lot of people that they throw it around as a marketing buzzword because the capital investors who are, money changers, not technologists either, they see, oh, this company can filter out noise in cybersecurity with AI, fund it. And that kind of mentality, and sometimes they get lucky. These companies do this, or they fake it. They say it's AI. They really hired a
Right.
large team of people that are really skilled, and they put
Clicking the
AI
links.
as a buzzword.
Right.
I mean, when you get technical, and I've talked about this with Huntress Labs when I was hanging out with their NOC team and their security team. It's like, yeah, they technically have a machine learning algorithm that filters out noise. That's how they have a smaller team and are able to manage data at volume. They just
Right.
don't brand it as AI. They go, we just have a filtering system that identifies known good signatures, categorizes all of them, minimizes the noise, looks using its algorithm to help us, sort out the noise to bring it down to actionable intelligence. That is
Well, we
technically AI,
what
but
we call it is just tuning.
yeah, it's just
And but you have
tuning.
to
That's
do it
that's the
anything
reality of
else.
it.
If you spin up PF Sense Eternal Snorting Suricata, you gotta tune it. Or it's gonna be like potential corporate espionage, SSH, and you're just I'm just doing my job. I'm just
Yeah, I'm just
working.
doing my job. I had SSH somewhere.
I do that a lot. You're gonna be mad at me today because today is an SSH day.
hmm So there's a lot. There's so much more to it, and that's what people need to really get down and
Yeah.
understand. But
Technology is hard, and I mean, again, I think that when you think about where we're going with technology and where we're going with security in general, there's going to be some, levels of intrusions, as we like to call it, right? Like, there's going to be some invasions of privacy for us to be able to be further secure. Um, you know, the reason why your phone goes, "Hey, we can't log you in. Are you sure you're not on a VPN?" Is because they're like, hey, we want to make sure that you aren't getting your account stolen, right?
yeah, they
um
have a lot of indicators when they do that.
yeah.
It's a weird combination. Google did a breakdown. I'm trying to remember what podcast this to. This is a little while ago, but of all the different indicator points they have to determine, it is not username and password. That's like the first base level stuff. Where were you? What's the frequency? What time of day? All these little correlation data that they build around you, which feels like an invasion of privacy. But in the other side of it is Google's go, no, we want to know why you are logging into your phone now. Why are you, did you lose possession of it? They do a lot of little indicators on the Google site to do that. It, like you said, it's some riding that line of privacy, and we wanted to verify it was really you. Because in
Yep.
the early days, I remember, clients getting hacked, Google G Suite account getting hacked. This was years ago. They were logging in from the Middle East. That's,
Mm.
that, well, at least that's where the IP was showing up. And Google didn't even flag it. Didn't even, that was before they had like that, all those notices that went off when someone logged into your Gmail account from a new
Is
IP
this you?
address.
New login detected.
Yeah. Now it's like even when I switched phones because I cracked my screen, and I switched phones. There's like so many prompts I had to go through to get that set up. Like
Insert your
I'm
security
happy.
key. I'm like,
I'm
dude,
happy how hard
I'm
that
on a
was.
phone. Like, I
I'm
can't
happy how
insert.
hard that was to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a balance. They had to know a lot about me to get me logged back in. But the next one here, Australia under attack from the land down
Yeah.
under.
Yeah, it looks like they're blaming state actor, and China's already like, look, bro, we claim everything and this ain't us. So I mean, they're APAC, so it makes sense that potentially they're interested in, having some cybers over Australia. But Australia is really, really good when it comes to cybersecurity, and they're kind of on top of it when it comes to their policies around cybersecurity. Um, so the fact that they're considering that they've experienced what they're calling a sophisticated cyber attack, and they're considering it to be carried out by a nation state, kind of speaks volumes, because these people are considered kind of advanced when it comes to cyber.
Yeah, they're not just pointing at anyone. I mean, China's a hell of a place to point your finger at.
Right. And they're claiming that they're the main suspect, and they know that it was sophisticated because of the type of tradecraft. And we talk about tradecraft, and if you don't know what it is, tradecraft is the dark magic that hackers use, that operators use to be able to get the job done, right? So these are the things that make them special and allow them to be able to become undetectable. And this could be a number of things, such as um, you know TTP, so tool techniques, procedures, just just the way that they operate in general.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a hell of a thing to the countries are doing it, but I so if you scroll down a little further, it's where they're targeting. And this is another thing.
Looks like
You got,
SharePoint and Citrix.
yes, and targeting financial sectors and things like that. So they're probably looking for intellectual property, inside information that they can do.
Defense contractors.
Defense contractors. So
this does sound like our friends over in North Korea. This is
yeah,
the kind of stuff that they do.
They're looking for that too, because there's different reasons. So your general criminals want money. It's as simple as that. They're motivated. Ransomware is a monetarily motivated. Simple as that. You look at someone like China, they don't need money. They want innovation. They want to build the next widget and project. They want to have better tech. So their attacks are really all about gathering information. The mentality that generally seems to come from that is like grains of sand. They're willing to keep gathering those grains of sand to build their own beach. The little bit, they don't want to be detected. That's why they say it's sophisticated. It's not like we're trying to be loud, noisy, knocking out logs. It's slowly gathering intel. Put all the implants. What can we gather? What can we gather? Put all the implants. What can we pull back for intellectual property? What if, hey, is there what are these documents? What are these inside piece of information? Hey, a new formula for this. The guys over at, let me see, Risky Business Podcast have an excellent write-up on the stealing. They get a special article they wrote on this. They interviewed some people at some really large firms about vaccines, about medical in general. And it's all these different healthcare companies that are not getting ransomware, having intellectual property stolen. They want to know, and they're kind of discussing how there's an underground black market for people to get faster because they want to produce the next drug better. So these drug and pharmaceutical companies are under a very heavy attack that's very quiet at the same time. It's all an espionage. So it's
espionage is really where China ends up getting most of their, that's their big motivation.
Yes. So that's how they kind of come up with attribution to it and things like that. It's really, it's interesting. And I don't know, it's just scary in some ways because it's like an intellectual property war. Of course, if we just do everything open source and there's nothing to steal, it just becomes implementation at that point. It's
just, get clone.
Get clone. and may the best implementer win. I don't know. Now, there's been more coming out of this next one. So the encrypted phone network, which I never heard of before. Had you heard of this before?
Not that I want to speak on.
Okay, fair enough. Encrochat is part of an encrypted phone industry which sells devices preloaded with a private messaging act that sometimes has GPS or camera functionality physically removed. So this is, for criminals basically selling not burner phones, like customized, untraceable phones. And apparently this was a coordinated effort that got them into here. So you have police and law agencies getting in here. Now, there's been a few other side stories of other criminals they found, other busts that have been made. Like, there's still fallout coming from this. I'm focusing on the tech side of it. But if you look into this, you'll find a few other agencies brought down other, not really exactly tech related either, just other criminal enterprises, because once they got in here, they discovered how many people were using it. And they exploited, I can't remember exactly how they got into it, but they found a flaw in the code.
They did a straw buy, and they bought one of the devices, and that was the way that they were able to actually reverse engineer, figure out exactly what the devices were that they were using. They were using a modified version of Android OS on a carrier that was owned by one of the perpetrators, and they were able to, I believe, not only hack into that carrier, but also reverse engineer and start to target exploits at these devices specifically. So
and what's interesting about it is it's kind of an interesting, the people that were essentially selling the phones didn't see the insider threat coming because they only expected criminals to use the phone and not use it to reverse engineer the other criminals. So once law enforcement got involved in there, once they were inside it. So it's kind of interesting, scary, because the next version of this is going to be built on something like Signal that doesn't have a way in.
Right. And that's going to be extremely scary. And I'm pretty sure, was it Moxie? He's going to have to think about that.
That's a hard thing. And he's, I believe he's commented on this recently because he said it's still better. in his opinion, to offer a system that criminals may potentially use because that's just life.
That's life.
I can't
Everybody's
stop
gonna.
them.
If you can't stop them, I mean, did we stop selling guns because criminals buy them?
Right.
Nope.
It's the same
Can't
thing.
stop flying airplanes because they get hijacked.
Yeah. So he's been on that side of it that he wants to continue with that function. But it is an interesting problem because the next one will probably be built on something like that to be that much more secure. But if you guys want to do a little more reading, look at all the different stories that have come out in the last week that are all related to the bust that all from cracking that. So
yeah. Oh, they went and arrested at least 20 people behind that. And there was a huge cat and mouse too, because the operators of the network actually knew that they were compromised, and they pushed out an update to be able to combat the exploit that was generated. And they like in a matter of days, they had another exploit that was already targeted. I mean, you're up against nation state people who are. I mean, at that
very
point, you're up
talented.
against literally your government. You're going to lose every single time against your own government. There's just
Yeah.
no way you're going to win, unless
They,
you're the U.S. or the colonist, and you're across an entire ocean and know the land and can pick a fight. But that those days are long over. Like these dudes are just drug dealers.
yeah. It's who was it? Is the guy that was on trial, the drug lord, recently?
Which one? I know what you're talking
Escobar?
about. Dread Pirate Robbers, DPR.
No, no,
Dread
no,
Pirate.
no. The like Escobar,
Oh,
because he
Pablo
had
Escobar.
yeah. So
He
when
had one of those networks too.
so he had his own. He had enough money. He built his own network. They leveraged his IT guy. That's how they got the inside.
Chapo.
Chapo. That's it. That's what I was looking for. Chapo. Yep. So same thing. Insider threat. They actually were able to compromise the IT person that set up his, but they had an entire encrypted network. That's actually what helped allow him to evade for so long, was they could not get into his communications network. So they had all, private network, private phones. It's
and this is why networking is considered. I mean, excuse me, not networking. Encryption is considered a munition.
Yep.
Because it could be used.
And because he properly implemented, they needed to get inside. They couldn't find an exploit from the outside. There's a good story you can read on it. You read about his IT guy, and that was like a big pivotal point in the case and a pivotal point on how they got information on him. So a lot to think about. Very interesting, though. Oh, what was the other one?
What's next? This FX one?
FXS.
MSP?
Oh, yeah. Them.
I haven't caught up with this one. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've run across it, but I haven't really caught up with specifically the FX MSP. So is the FX outside of the MSP? Because I remember MSPs having footholds sold basically for the last year. Is this kind of along the same lines or what?
Yeah. He was working in financial environments. Let's say, GP Titan. They became widely known as a hacker forums about a year ago when cybersecurity boutique Advanced Intelligence published a series of reports and attempted to close a $300,000 deal for selling access that belonged to. He was the one selling access to all the big companies. McAfee, Trend Micro. I think we talked about this like in the early first couple episodes of it, because someone who was making the claim they were in all these networks. And I remember McAfee being one of them going, wow. And they finally caught up with this person who was selling access basically to like Fortune 500 companies type stuff. So it's just a matter of how long it took. This person was operating all the way back from 2016.
And we're talking about literally FXMSP is a credible threat with a history of selling verifiable corporate breaches, returning them profit close to $1 million. Wow. Holy smokes. We're talking about a serious person or a group of people.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
it looks like the actor stopped acting alone and had expanded into a team. So beware.
It was getting pretty deep in there. This was an interesting article to dig through. It's such a skill set to be able to focus in on these big companies and sell access to them.
I'm pretty sure it's nice and easy too. I
That's the
mean, let's
scary
be
part,
honest.
is how easy
Let's
was
be
it?
honest. You just got to get hired. Once you get hired at any company, you get company assets. You get to learn about everything. At that point, it becomes really, really easy. Like, okay, well, if my machine hasn't been patched in the last 3 months, every other machine hasn't been patched in the last 3 months, this exploit is going to work. Or they use a tool that has a cross-site scripting bug, and I'm able to make a payload that will just give me hashes that I can pass because they expose RDP onto the internet. I'm going to log in as people that I know are going to stay there forever, or as domain admin, or if I know they use service accounts and they only got one service account and it's just really, really busy, well then it's much easy for me to be able to stay covert as well as give somebody domain admin.
And this is where it's really hard. And scroll up to the because this was on a Russian. I can't remember what the Russian Facebook's called, but there's an equivalency of the Russian
VK,
Facebook. But
VK.
yeah, so in my world, so the interesting thing to me is if you are involved in something like this, like it's so hard to be underground. Because if you want to have any social life, you end up on some of the social sites. And let's say you're making good money at this and you kind of want to be a little flashy a little bit. That's where it becomes like so difficult for them. It's almost inevitably how they end up figuring out who some of them are and things like that. Like, who's the guy that doesn't have a job but has 3 Lamborghinis? What's he doing? Is
Right.
he used to see selling drugs? Now is he selling exploits? He's selling access to Fortune 500s.
It's all the same as
It's all
far
the
as the
same.
feds are concerned.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, all the details they had in following it. I thought Bleeping Computer's doing a pretty good job of diving into it, which is impressive.
Yeah, it seems like they're still out in the world, FYI. So
Yeah, they didn't, all they're
they ain't
doing is
caught.
publishing a lot of intelligence. They did not bust them, so that is the scary part there.
Stay vigilant.
Now, this is the fun one. This is the ripple effect it's going to be for quite a while.
Yeah,
We
I
were,
feel I feel really anxious about this one.
because God, there's got to be something with, at any given moment, you're within probably 20, 30 feet of some device with one of these.
Right. I'm pretty sure I own devices that have this problem. Nothing I could really do about it because apparently there's 19 zero-day vulnerabilities that were discovered in less than a year. In between September and June was September 2019, June 2020 was the time in which these bugs were discovered, and it's really really going to show the ripple effect of having a single library be involved with multiple companies, especially closed source libraries.
Yep.
Hasn't allowed for anybody else to take a look at it, have the community to actually touch it. So now this there's a number of libraries, as I'll call them, but it's actually considered a stack, right? They
Yeah.
produce a TCP/IP stack. They produce a number of other stacks, including SNMP, SMTP, etc., FTP. But the one that we know that has been already taken advantage of the most is their TCP/IP stack, which has been licensed out to quite the number of
It's,
companies,
and a lot
including
of
some of my
industrial,
ex-employers.
yeah. It's crazy. So if you look at those companies, if you're familiar, matter of fact, specifically ones we see, Enterprise Oil and Gas, Telecom, Schneider Electric, Rockwell Automation, Caterpillar. We see like I
HP.
think I've seen Honeywell in there too. Schneider seems like down there. I remember some Honeywell devices being mentioned when I was digging through here. But what happens is, so this small little company called Trek, they're only like a 3-person company, and yeah, Dell, Zunkin, Smith Medical, Schneider, Eaton was the other big one.
Eaton, huge. They make power walls and all types of stuff.
Eaton
They make
specifically, and if
transmissions
you
for
if you guys are
trucks.
a follower of Linus Tech Tips, he just did his video where he changed out his giant Eaton power supply or UPS system. We've deployed those for some of our clients as well. that means there is major control systems network attached that have bought this stack that can be shut down and crashed very easily. And this is like Xavier said, why did they go and buy this? Yeah, there's Honeywell because it was pending. But so, and I have a lot of clients for building management. They all have Honeywell control systems for their
Yep.
building management for all the
SES.
zone, the heating, the cooling, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But one company sold this, and I seen Grayson mention it was on Security Now. Yeah, he mentioned that. Steve Gibson mentioned on Security Now as well. Also, what happens is it's just poor programming. It's a bunch of basic buffer overruns for, mishandled memory exception stuff. It's all kind of basic, but no one looked. And this stack has been being used for years. They bought it probably because they had a license. And I think off show, we were laughing because sometimes these purchasing agents are, they have more gray hair than me.
Right.
They've been in the same job position, and they don't understand buying or just using an open source stack that has a good license, like a good GPL license, where you can just integrate that TCP/IP stack. It's been well vetted, well looked at. They leased it from some company that did a real half-ass job of writing it. It got embedded in everything.
Not to mention how many of these people all worked together. Like, if you worked for fucking Sony, you probably worked somewhere over here and then a little bit over there, or you got friends that have worked at all these places, or you watch videos from people who may have been promoting these libraries, etc. You'd be really surprised how easy it is to get inundated with, oh, I got to use the one thing because I that's what I know of, right?
Yep.
Everyone's using this TCP/IP stack. Why do we want to use it as NASA? Well, GE uses it. I used it over at GE Aviation, so I know it works, and I already got some code for it. And all right, cool. Next thing you know, we're Viacom. Why do we want to use that? Well, I got some friends over at NASA who's using it. And I got a homeboy over at GE that's using it. I got friends over at Broadcom that's using it. If it's good enough for them, why is it not good enough for us? Kind of becomes that's
Yep.
really, really dangerous. And as you can see, that's kind of what happened. Right? Like, there's no other reason why all of these people end up falling to something that's.
And a guy I used to know from a while ago, a couple of them, him and his brother were both embedded controller designers for industrial, what do you call that? Manufacturing, where they wanted to build the supply line. They would build they would do the coding for all the little robots and make the arm, grab the widget, move the widget over here, load it on the thing, etc. There's so few people in the industry that they worked constantly for like all these big automotives. They bounced between them. They would write the same code all the time and put it in there. So it's like Xavier said, it's not uncommon, not just from a purchasing agent standpoint. The word gets around, and you have these small teams that get good at doing something with these small devices, and they just keep hiring those guys. So it could be, one, they use one TCP/IP stack. Two, there's the same couple other guys, probably this two brother team I used to know from years ago, that run around coding it, and they just always, because they've always done it this way, they keep using the same thing. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Pretty crazy. I would say take some time and actually go through and read that in detail. It's a really, really good write-up.
And he's got a demo. He hacks some stuff and shuts it off with the demo. So he's got proof of concept, everything. It's well documented. It looks like he's going to be speaking at Black Hat too.
Black Hat, nice.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh man, have you heard about the whole Black Hat, White Hat debacle?
No.
Oh man. Oh, it shouldn't be called White Hat. It shouldn't be called Black Hat. It's too racial.
Oh shit.
Oh man. Yeah, now it's out of control. Anyway, yeah.
I can go off topic quick.
I don't want YouTube to demonetize us because we went radical. Black Lives Mattering and all.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Look at all this shit that's affected.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit here. There's no statement from this company, Caterpillar. I don't blame them. They make big shit that could be potentially remote controllable, apparently.
Yeah. My understanding is some of their crane equipment is remotely operated, so
it would have to be. I mean, they have the controllers that you see them controlling it sometimes.
So that's a scary one. Let's just take this crane over.
I mean, here's the fucking pain. Like, this is gonna suck.
This is what screws over the end users, like.
Right? Like, my mom probably has one of these fucking things. right? And she's not even hooked it up to the Wi-Fi, and that's
Yep.
that's the thing. Like now I got a foothold. Worst come to worst, I could just make it so that she can't print. I mean, well, best come to best. Worst come to worst, I remote code execution pivot, move laterally.
Mm-hmm. Intel's got it in, so that Intel Management Engine, that's a scary one too, because that's the onboard controller and everything else. The offline management that's built into that Dell R710 you got behind you.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I got a fucking iDRAC. Would it still have the AMT in it?
Yeah, but that's based on, I think all the iDRAC stuff's based on Intel. I could be wrong, but I think Dell was in the list. And I think Dell's in the list because they use the Intel controller. I'm not positive on that, so.
Of course,
There's so much in here, though.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Oh, there's
Dell.
Dell.
There's Dell. Yep.
Inherited from an Intel component that is present in Dell.
Okay, so that was my guess, and I was right.
Yep, that's me. Ouch. Ouchie, ouchie. I wonder, can I convince people just to give me their servers for super cheap now because their iDRAC is vulnerable to remote code execution? No? All right, cool. Can I have your expensive server for free? Or
Maybe.
really, really cheap? All right.
On a good note, we're going to do the Boston lawmakers. They're deciding that maybe we shouldn't. They're getting a little smarter than Detroit. I think we might have some legs to stand on that. We should ban it in Detroit too. With a 4% accuracy, I think we got some.
Yeah, we got some legs to kind of just, I mean, but our city council is just.
But at least they're banning it in Boston, so they're thinking ahead. They're like, hey, you know what we don't want to be? Detroit.
And it looks like they only had an error rate that was up to 35% and not the 97% that we're facing. So it should be to get it taken out.
Yep. Well, then Boston does have MIT. So they got MIT on their side. It's in their city. So some people from MIT said, we're really smart and we're saying don't use
the first known case of a man arrested after being misidentified by facial recognition technology in Michigan.
Yep.
So they're already using this case as, hey, by the way, this is a big issue. It's time to ban it. And it was unanimously banned. So shout out to Boston. And by the way, they had a bombing this decade. I guess last decade, technically.
And they're still not
fucking feeling like, well, our error rate at 35% is worth it. No, they believe that, you don't want to get misidentified. And they have a black police commissioner as well.
Yep.
So
and it's funny. The weirdest thing to think about, though, Boston looked at what happened in Detroit and said, we should ban it here. Detroit's like, we're defending why we have it.
Right. We need it. We got shiny toys.
It doesn't work right, but we need it. And here's Boston go, don't be like those assholes.
Right. Man, Michigan is making the news for way too many different
things.
Way too many different things.
Oh, well.
Shit. You want to do the NK one or not?
Magecart?
No. Well, we can jump down to Magecart. That's the one I really want to talk about, I'll be honest.
You do want to talk about that one?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I do. It was one right above that, but I'm down for
Oh
no. Wait, wrong one.
Yeah.
We got two Magecarts?
Do we?
We do. Yeah. Oh.
Well, I got one. So we can just combine them into one.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Great minds think alike.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sorry, guys. We do this live. If you can't tell,
we had dropped stuff in there and everything.
Sometimes I don't even get to read some of this shit before. So yeah, it looks like, North Korea is skimming. We already know this, right? But it seems like they're less interested in testing their nukes and their underground bunkers and bombs, and they haven't really come out to talk about too much of a COVID spike. I guess it's easy when people can't come in and out of your country to transport COVID in and out. They're probably like, "Mwahahaha, you silly fools! Look at us now, all healthy and hungry."
Yeah, well, they're still hungry, but they didn't die of that.
They didn't die of famine yet.
Yeah, but I think this is interesting because when you think about all the sanctions that are around North Korea, how do they fund anything? And honestly, it's straight money too. Because when you look at, let's talk about economics. If you talk about GDP, you talk about, gross domestic, the GDP of any country, gross domestic product. There's a production level, there's a cost associated with it. The costs are so small for hacking compared to the returns. So yeah, we invested whatever we paid these people, food, in South Korea.
Right.
So whatever they paid these people to sit around and hack this stuff, it's a very one-way street for massive amounts of return. So it's quite a bit of money coming into these countries. It's an interesting way when you think about how they're funding some of it. Funding the functionality of the country under sanctions. Are like, yeah, we just go and pop some Magecarts out there and just
easy, nice
and
easy.
I see this growing.
It's injected code either through JavaScript. Most of the time through JavaScript. Sometimes they get the actual site hacked. But I mean, this is like low hanging fruit type of shit you can automate. Go look for everything that has a /cart.php and try and check out creating a user that has a username with a payload, and then bam, or something along those lines, right? Becomes very, very easy. This is a new mode of operation. Remember, it was all about banking Trojans that did this exact same thing, and now we're moving into malicious code.
Yeah, and I seen Grayson post in the chat there. He says this is one of the reasons to use Amazon. I gotta admit, I frequently use PayPal if it's a non-Amazon site. I just don't want to deal with put my credit card anywhere. I don't trust that so many of the companies I've dealt with have done a good job with credit cards. It's kind of low-hanging fruit for the hackers. Because I used to think, before I dove into behind the scenes on Magecart, and you can probably back me up on this, I used to think, wow, this is a lot of skill. And I realized, it seemed like a lot more skill than a North Korea might have. Then I realized, oh, no, these are all misconfigured horribly. It turns out it's less difficult than I thought to start popping all these Magecarts.
And what I use is something called privacy.com.
Yes.
And they don't sponsor us. And I don't get paid to tell you this. But privacy.com, and they should. Privacy.com allows you to be able to create virtual cards on the fly.
Yep.
So I got unlimited amounts of credit cards that I could set maximum charge limits on. I can use different funding sources for. I can pause. So, when I sign up for that dope Spotify 15-day trial that needs a credit card, I just put my credit card in and I pause it immediately, and then I get my 15 days and don't have to worry about, oops, I forgot to turn off that subscription, right? So just throwing it out there. This is a good way for if your card gets lifted, it's not lifted for good. It's a virtual card. You can dispute it and or pause it or have it set to a maximum or have it locked to a vendor. If you lock your cards to vendors, it becomes worthless almost because now they can only spend, $55 a month with Adobe. Like, what good is that to any, hacker?
It doesn't do them any good at all. So I've been looking at that too. I've seen it advertised and I thought that might not be a bad idea. So
I've been using it for about 4 years now. Since it first came out. I actually know Bo, which is the person that founded it. He used to actually answer all of the support tickets, and I used to bug the fuck out of him. So,
yeah. They dug in, got the technical analysis to get attribution, to figure out where it's going from, where those are registered to. So they did the work is done here to prove and show attribution to them for who is actually doing this. So
right, that shit's nuts, man.
And it went on for years.
It's still going on.
Still going on. Yeah, went on. Says it's not past tense.
Yeah, shit's nuts. And shit's nuts, man.
Yeah, so some of those are only from a few weeks ago. Not that long ago. What a mess.
What a mess. And then, kind of digging into this a little bit more, what they're considered, they're calling a group Keeper. They are known to have infected at least 570 sites. They're considering that this Keeper group has 64 domains, 64 attacking domains, 73 exfil domains, and it's already targeted over 570 victims.
Wow.
Over 55 different countries from 2017 until now. Over 85% of the victims operated Magento. It seems like this Gemini company, GeminiAdvisory.io, actually discovered an unsecured access log on the keeper control panel with about 184,000 compromised cards with timestamps.
Wow.
Just between between July 18 and April 19. So it looks like, average price of $10, potentially gotten about $7 million USD from having cards. So carding is lucrative, dangerous, and just wanted to kind of share this because
And it's just like a one-way street of exit money from whatever country, bringing it to wherever they're going. It's crazy.
Exactly.
There's a few Darknet Diaries episodes that cover carding, man. It's you live well doing that. And that's who was busting some of those card skimmer people. That was what got Krebs almost assassinated.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with that.
It's
sometimes you're coming in between some criminal organization and their money. That might be a bit far for even.
Especially when they got 7 million reasons to stop you from exposing them.
And then we're talking about 7 million reasons today.
Yeah.
With the potential, I mean, they're earning $7 million. That was just in a year span. We know that they're making more. We know that is north of 7. Know that it is. That's just a number we can attribute. Pretty
Holy
crazy.
shit. What they know about on one log server, by the way.
Right. You want to jump into this University of California one?
Oh, ransomware. We can't have an episode.
Can't have an episode without ransomware, bro.
Yeah,
they
paid
like
it.
if you see us here and we don't do a ransomware, then it wasn't even us. Wasn't even us. California University pays $1 million after RW attack. Every once in a while, you got to pay, and it looks like it looks like these hackers encrypted the data on servers inside of the School of Medicine, which is a really big deal. Even though it didn't, they were among those leading the coronavirus antibody testing. It didn't impede the COVID-19 work, apparently. But some of that work was probably taken away from them. Some malware known as NetWalker, which I'm not familiar with 100% yet, was used. It grabbed some data and ultimately leveraged that data in ransomware negotiations, which led to a payment. The university got its key and got copies of its stolen documents, and it cost them about $1 million and some change. Now they say that there's particularly a couple of files, if not one file, particularly that's worth more than $1 million. They won't say what it is, because they won't even say that records were exposed for potential patients, but
because this has a double combination. They're doing extortion, so you have one piece where they may be extorting them, and Grayson had said that I see in the chat there, so don't pay them, it's cheaper to have backups. That's actually not true. One of the challenges that a few companies I've talked to behind the scenes have faced is the amount of time it takes to restore all the backups. Like, hey, cool, we got them. It's going to take this much time and billable hours to do it. It becomes cheaper to pay the ransom. Not to mention the extortion part where they may expose the documents that they don't want to expose. So you have this double whammy for it going,
the extortion part is actually bigger than anything right now. It's huge.
It's a big piece.
I feel like the ransomware operators were looking at our content and was like, they're onto something. Like, what is the incentive? Like, Tom is telling people how to do backups. Well, okay, let them restore from backups, because now I'm just going to dump their data out. And how much is their data worth? Well, most companies, the data that they keep around is worth a whole lot. If you save it, it's like it. In my business, it's things like questionnaires, statement of work, actual reports, which allow people to see exactly how my customers are vulnerable. That could be really, 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 really dangerous if just put out onto the internet. Because what if my customer has a regression? What if my customer has a finding that they can't immediately address, which happens a lot?
Yep.
It becomes dangerous.
There's a reason that any of these vulnerabilities, you notice, look at the date on a CVE. You'll notice it's always like, oh, that's an old date on that CVE. Wait, does that begin with 2019 and I just learned about it in July? Yeah, that's when it was published. There had to be a long time to get that fixed, get it in the pipeline, get the software, get the patches rolled out, then do it. So I didn't have these in the links. There's just a couple mentions I'll give. F5 networks. Just type that into any news right now. I've watched the all the different posts. Like they're getting hammered on their BGP systems that have the
Yep.
flaws in it. I don't really have any more to add to it. Someone asked me if we could cover it and how they got hacked. I got a couple Twitter messages. I'm like, there's not a lot to cover because I don't know the exact details of the exploits, but it's basically.
I do. It's really, really unfortunately easy.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew it's just hit the control panel and log in.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Whoops, I thought I had it pulled up. So what it is a it's just like you can go get secrets directly from a path, like it's remote code execution and local file inclusion or remote file inclusion, local file inclusion from just the URI. Give me 1 second. Well, it's on here somewhere. Here we go. Attackers are bypassing the RCE mitigation already, so
Yeah.
might want to patch. Looks like the exploit actually looks like this, right? Which is just a post to a HSQLDB, and it
Yep.
won't tell you exactly what it is. But this is just some obfuscated code that gets run. Looks like Java is the language of choice here. So it's quite literally just go to an endpoint, make a post, bam.
And these are running. I mean, F5 makes some heavy big iron that runs parts of the internet. So this is it's really an attack on some of the fabric of the internet. So it's going to be ongoing. I don't have a ton to add to it, but it's obviously just a really big mess.
Really, really, really big mess there.
Same thing with Citrix. Someone pointed out Citrix had more flaws than a bunch of their equipment. This is still a ripple effect from, oh God, this would have been the second episode when we talked about Citrix discovering that they had a massive amount of data exfilled. All sounded like their source code. We still don't really know what. Do we really know what was exfilled out of Citrix like last year?
Not
a lot, but I think that's
Probably
what's
everything.
leading. Yeah, everything. They were in there for quite a while, but we're seeing they took all this, probably going through the code and reversing everything and going, found a hole here, found one here, found one there. So yeah, I'm not surprised by the more Citrix.
And a lot of people are, and I just had a customer today tell me, hey, yeah, we're getting rid of all of our workstations. We're virtualizing everything except for the workloads that are 100% critical, moving everybody to dumb terminals, and we're using Citrix. And our customers don't care that Citrix was just breached. They need something that is enterprise grade, ready to go. They know that Citrix is going to get it together and fix it. And as long as Citrix stays above board, continues to patch their product and support it, they're going to keep making money.
Yep. And the problem with the Citrix, all the stuff, they're CVEs. They're already out there. They're already patches. They're all exploiting the fact that people don't patch. So it's not, to me, it's like, yeah, cool. They have another. I think there's one in our SD-WAN. There's another one in another one of the Citrix web application delivery systems. But yeah,
shit happens, man. I you get numb to it after a while. Shit happens. I think that CVEs are a good thing. People shouldn't shame people for CVEs.
No.
People should shame people for not having hygiene and not keeping their shit patched.
Yes, that's where the flaw really is. I mean, it's been disclosed.
4.5 million RDP instances on the internet. That's shame.
Yeah, and every year, I think the NSA does this report every year where they break down like the most popular exploits, and they said like 80% of them are over a year old. 80% of them.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, we looked at that. Yeah, dude, we're talking about shit from 2014, 2013 still being exploited today. Eternal Romance, Eternal Blue still getting used. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've done enough of that side of the work doing incident response going, is it the newest thing you've never seen before? No, you're like, no. Oh, look.
Dude, incident response is so boring. You know what it is? Sally clicked a fucking link on an email. That's 95% of my job. She clicked a link on an email. You guys didn't log for longer than 90 days. They sat around, or you got to encrypt it. Your DC is encrypted. I can't tell you shit anyway. We got to start negotiating with unfortunate people. It is like that side of the business is really boring, but the fun part when I get to do the hacking and shit, right? That's when you get to be like, oh, you still got SMBV1 open. Awesome. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you'd be surprised how many people still have SMBV1 on. And then when you give them the findings and you do the retest, it's still enabled. And you're like, why is this enabled? Oh, well, the one tool doesn't work without it. We do CAD and we need the one tool that uses SMBV1 only.
So
You're like, what the fuck do you mean?
we we have a client that we had to turn an SMB1 because they're CNC machines. That's the only way they
See?
can receive the files.
I'm
And they
telling
don't.
you.
I mean, these CNC machines are $100,000 machines. They're a few
Ain't
years
no
old, but
update.
they work.
Yeah.
They work. They don't want to replace them. They just have to turn on SMB1. And if someone gets in their network, pivot away.
Game over. Yeah, we're moving laterally all day long. You got some BV1 enabled. That's as good as having remote. You might as well just give me remote code execution and system. Like, it's just done.
The mess.
All right, we got one more.
One more.
All right, let's see. Let's see what we got. Oh, yeah. I'm excited for this one. So, I'm doing the car hacking village this year. I'm doing the talk there. Super excited. One of the organizers. So, of course, I had to throw in something around Detroit and vehicles. So, it looks like the feds cracked down on a train heist, which was involving brand new Detroit vehicles, putting key fobs on the black market. A guy named Jason Gibbs, young dude, actually was arrested due to the fact that he was stealing devices that could be reprogrammed to provide keyless entry into vehicles made by GM, Ford, and Fiat Chrysler. So this guy was actually taking, he was a car porter. And what he would do is, port cars back and forth from the trailer that comes from the factory onto the trains that get him around the street. And get him around the country. And what happened was he was actually taking key fobs from brand new cars and selling them on eBay. And so this rail yard is owned by CSX Transportation. It's out in New Boston, which is in Metro Detroit area, not too far away from you, right, Tom?
Nope. No, it's
And,
right. It's like this is about 2 minutes. We do work with some clients right in New Boston. They're like, I don't know, 7 miles from here.
They're really close.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like every vehicle, gets 2 key fobs. The porters use the fobs to be able to drive the cars back and forth up onto the trains. And it looks like just about 2 years ago, automakers start complaining about these fobs coming up missing. And then they started, of course, do auditing. And what they found was some of these fobs were being sold by a person named I Love 12 Volts, which was eBay seller, which had a 100% seller rating, which is really hard to attain, which means that his product was working 100% of the time. And it makes sense that it was because it was brand new from factories. Otherwise unprogrammed keys that were belonging to vehicles. Now, one thing I happen to know because I'm a car hacker is that the Ford F-150 key fobs are locked to the vehicle specifically. So I'm not sure what he was doing with those keys particularly, but you know, he actually was caught because he had OPSEC failures. The parcels that he was mailing out had a return address of a vacant house. So he checked the box there, but then they found that he was a past tenant of that house, right?
Ooh.
And how many people are past tenants of a house with a return address working as a car porter at CSX in New Boston? Oh, it's fucking one. All right. And of course, they just needed to check one more place. Let's check this eBay account. And looks like Gibbs and the person who was linked to the eBay account were friends and grew up. And they found that the postage that was actually paid, was the postage that the parcel was paid for. The postage for the parcel was paid for using a debit card that was linked to Gibbs.
Oh.
So, and it looks like they actually were getting packages mailed from less than a mile away from the rail yard that these keys were originating from. And
OPSEC fail.
OPSEC failed. Looks like he sold about 1,900 key fobs, made about $60,000 or so, 65 or 60,000. Yep. Yeah. This was a really, really interesting debacle here.
Yeah. Good investigation and dive down into who did it, and oh well.
Yep. Good riddance.
Good riddance. Don't steal shit.
Don't steal shit. Yeah.
Get a job hacking
Basically,
shit. It's way more fun.
it's way more fun, and you can steal stuff and return it. Like
Yeah,
that could have been a finding.
it
Like,
could have been a finding.
I mean, it's
You,
not because when someone gives you a brand new car and you're a porter, it's just like like if I pull up to the valet and I give them my car keys, like they can't go, "That's a finding. You gave a stranger your car keys." It's like, yeah, bro, you gave me a ticket with the number on it. Like
mm-hmm.
you're on camera. Like I know who you are. This isn't a finding. Anyway,
Well, you've sat through another episode of How They Got Hacked. We were still working on making it more frequent, finding time, lining things up. We're all busy people, but we love doing this. Today was a good day, though, as I got to bullshit with Xavier for a couple hours beforehand. We had all kinds of business ideas to toss around.
all types of shit, man. It's always good catching up with time.
Yep.
It's a good friend
It's
of mine.
always surround yourself with smart people. That's just work on that, even if you got to do it over Zoom.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, yeah. I mean, and now it's like even more normal to do shit over Zoom now. So like, if that means that you find a mentor that's out of state, like this is now the time to do that. Like the thing with mentor type of people are they typically really, really busy. So it's hard to find somebody and go, hey, I want to make you my mentor. Like I never went to Tom and was like, hey, become my mentor. Like we were just friends and I look at him as a mentor. Like it's just how it works. He's got a lot of life I don't got yet. These like 15 years or so. So I always pick his brain when I can. And Mo too. Mo's like fucking 36.
Yeah, that's right.
Or
Mo,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Mo's
I
a
pick
little
his
younger
brain all
than
the
me,
time.
a little older.
Yeah.
He's in between us,
It's
so
in between. I gotta get him back on here. For fuck's sake.
yeah.
Mo, just to give you an update on Mo, he is going to be leaving DC. I don't know where he's going to end up landing, but he may be around town for a while. So I'm gonna try and get him back in the fold. See if I can't get him to show up. He keeps saying he's gonna show up, but then we do the show. I ain't gonna lie. I don't be tracking him down, but that's still the homie. I'll hit him up and let him know.
Yeah, and me and Xavier also chatted. We're working on getting some other cybersecurity guests together that might we might do some interviews that go over on my channel and get us all together, just talking stories and things like that. And
I mean, investigators and special agents.
Xavier has some cool friends. I'm not gonna lie.
Some shit's going down. I'm probably gonna find some more cool friends. Car hacker friends. I'm giving a webinar. So not only am I speaking at the car hacking village, but I'm giving a webinar for the automotive security research group September 10th, 2020.
Nice.
So I got my talk lined up for August. I got my talk lined up for September. So somehow, some way, I got 3 talks in. I got a quarter of worth of talks because I spoke in January and I spoke in February. So I got 4 months worth of talks. Out of 12. It's not so bad. I still got some room to grow, hopefully. Get some more talks in.
I think I might be getting worn out. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah,
You're already home.
Yeah. I'm home.
There's at least an advantage.
I'm gonna leave and go get some foods.
Yeah, I just want a beer and a whiskey or something and watch some TV.
Yeah,
I've been here since early. I had a meeting this morning. I'm actually kind of sunburned. I had the Chamber of Commerce finally had their meetings, but they did them outside. I don't know if anyone looked, but at 8 a.m. when I was at the meeting, it was like 83, humid and sunny.
Brutal.
So yeah, I was outside for an hour it was like Florida outside. I was like, so I'm actually, I realized looking, I'm a little sunburned. Oh, fun times. I'm ready to wind it down. There's a car show I'm going tomorrow, so there's that. Yeah, M1 Concourse if you're interested, or anyone else listening. M1 Concourse.
And where is it?
It's a big racetrack out in Pontiac. Largest private collection of exotic cars.
What time though?
8 a.m.
Well, it could work. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I got fucking TestCon tomorrow for DEF CON. We got to test the entire village remote from 12 to 5. It is intense. So I'll have a day filled with that. But I want to go see it. You said exotic cars?
Here, hold on. We're going to do something.
Yeah, pull it up. You got permissions?
Send
me the link. Oh, there you go. Cool.
No, I'm going to do share screen.
You're already sharing your screen? Oh, no. Well, at least you were. I'm looking at you on YouTube, and I could see your screen at least.
There. Where are they at? I think this is... Well, give you an idea how big it is. There's a There's just these go around the whole race course. There's Lamborghinis.
nice.
There's all these. There's a McLaren, not a McLaren. The 4 GTs. There's so many cars. You can just see them, and all these are private garages they open up too. So you just wander around, and there's all these super high end cars and everything there.
Can I drive my car? Like, can I take my car on the track?
And you can't race on the track because all the high end cars are parked on the track. But actually, you do end up driving. That's how they bring you in, is on the track. It's kind of cool.
I was about to say, man, you know, I'll open her up. You know, I got a Hemi.
Well,
you know,
they do. They do have some days where I guess you can go do that. I want to go take the Tesla over there. They have a Mile and Dragway does one too, where you can bring any car.
We gotta show up and like troll some people in the Cybertrucks or something. That would be nice and fun.
Dude, I was at the last cruise. I was.
I saw you trolling people. I saw you battery spike all the power drain all the way down. I was like, man, Tom's been heating up the batteries.
Heating up the batteries. No, I was trolling people at the Downriver cruise, racing people and shit. It was there's not many people that know how fast a Tesla is, and a few of them found out.
Wait until it's a fucking Cybertruck and it's just like an entire hunk of steel rolling around.
It turns out though, is I can beat that. I can come out of the hole faster than the Hellcats. But then I got spanked. Well, out of the hole, I took them. But those Nissan NSXs, and it was fucking built. Man, that guy's a rocket. That thing was crazy.
Oh, yeah, it's no joke.
That's a wild car.
I bet.
All right, man. We'll just babble on about nothing forever. So
I don't know. we had a good chat today.
We had a good chat. Absolutely. Sup, Tom? Thank you for everyone. Whoever, Kissmac, sup? I'm out of here. I'm easy to find on the forums. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm not a hard person to get a hold of if you want to tweet stories for us to talk about or just things that might be interesting.
Smash that like button.
Smash the like button. If you're watching this and post all that fun stuff. I
fucking hate my mustache. It's up my nose. It's the worst.
Oh, I know. But dude, when you get your 40s, you got to use a nose hair trimmer in the morning. Like, no one told me I had to do that shit. That's like part of the
morning. Just every morning.
Every morning, you're like, this, yeah. If not, someone's like, you got a coke cap? I'm like, no, I forgot to use a nose trimmer. I'm like, get you my nose.
No wonder Tom works so hard.
Oh, it's like he's a drug problem. No, dude, I forgot to use a nose trimmer, man. There's one growing and it's poking me.
Man.
Getting old sucks.
Congratulations, Kizmac, with your high CVSS from Amazon. Amazing.
All right. I'll end it. Thanks. Later.
It's Audi.
Peace.